We continue our notes here with 11:18, and to show you where the notes are pointing at, 18 brought in addition to the Tamid, Numbers 28:9, the same phrase, D 5:15. It occurs in the form Sheken, Kethiv, in late Midrashim. See Batcher, D. Exegesis Terminology, 1899, page 91, equivalent to Leviticus 23 and 38. The exegesis is based on MH usage, C 5.5. It contradicts the context, but it also in Quinta and V, other versions are ambiguous. MT, Sabbath offerings of the Lord, C 7.11. So the Samaritans, Rechner, page 20, and Anan, Ravel, page 41, as against Hillel, Pasachin, if that's supposed to be, I don't, but I do see some of the ch as with the dot, 66a, and so on. The later Karaites of Nimoy, page 203, Jubilees, 50:10, is ambiguous. Like the case discussed by Hillel, our law may refer to Passover, since Ish suggests a private sacrifice, viz. The Passover lamb, while other festival offerings were brought at public expense. Because the atonement and all that does require the effort of the people, not someone else's effort, the effort of the people. 19. This law has been taken to link our sect with the Essenes, who always sent their gifts through others. Josephus's Antiquities, 18:15, but lines 17 to 18 clearly speak of personal appearances at the sanctuary. 20, the plural occurs in MH in 3:22 of Syrian Arsha, to grant the sect thus shared the rabbinic principle, a man's emissary is like himself, Barakot 5:5, and so on. See 4:18, Proverbs 15:8, also alluded to in Deuteronomy 9:5, 21 MT adds of the Lord, C 7:11, and of course we're referring to this manuscript when we don't have any other source listed with it. The same mistake, D 5:24 MT Yasharim. This may be a conflation with Proverbs 15:29, but if Y really was a name of the sect, 22, the author would hardly have missed an opportunity of mentioning it in this context of all places. Explanatory addition, Fuller, D 9:4-5, so also Jewish comes. So V and possibly Quinta MT, his delight, if gifts cannot be sent through members of the sect, the only ones on whose purity one can rely, prayer will make up for it. And 22, restored according to MH, but also the Essenes called their community houses Synagogue Ai, Philo quad omnis propis, 81. The next law shows that one might go there for purposes other than prayer. Schechter's rendering house of prostration, prostyuka, is proved linguistically, possibly by D, where the imp Cust often plays the role of an MH verbal noun and a place of prostration that translates to masjid. The Arabic term for a mosque. I.e., after a seminal effusion, 12:1, he was not allowed to say prayers unless washed, Berakoth 3, 4, and 5, but he need not take a full ritual bath. Berakoth 22b, the latter halakha was whispered, a procedure employed for Gnostic teachings. See Genre 3-4. Hence, perhaps it had sectarian antecedents. Hakel, Segal, section 251. See Nefel, Hekahel, numbers 10-7. See trumpets of bringing back, and so on. WMG 125, lines 2-3. Among Samaritans, trumpets called for prayer. See Chaim Rabin, page 20. 23. The Tameh Caboose, who is about to visit the community house for some other purpose. The MH Hefel, right? But in D114, PL for the MH Hefel in another sense, these as in Meg 1-3, Hittip, otherwise not recorded before the 12th century. See also D114, Seer 1111, and MHPL, late BH, temple service, MH, prayer. Hitherto, this law has always been separated from lines 21 to 22, supplying the congregation as subject or amending the verbs to plural, but no one has yet been able to explain satisfactorily how the regulations would prevent the service being disturbed by latecomers. Too little space for Avadah. Segal, to my eye, the traces suggest Yamuth, 15:4-5. And we start with page 12 here. Line 1, the lacuna probably contained further purity laws. See also the Holy City, 20:22. Line 2, based on Leviticus 15:18, a person who had a seminal effusion, 11:22, is excluded from the temple courtyards when affected with flux from the temple mount. Kalim 1:8, but in Josephus, is it Josephus? BJ 5:5-6, from the whole city, probably a fence regulation to prevent defilement of the temple, meant like the similar Islamic law to apply to pilgrims, not to the population of the city, otherwise 5:6 would be pointless. And, well, Islamic law, there's regarding the city. Now, the people who are doing the pilgrimage, whether it's a greater or lesser pilgrimage, some people live there and never do the pilgrimage. It's like all you have to do is go outside some of the boundaries. Well, not just the boundaries, cities. I guess you have to come in through. It's not. It's something you can do the same day if you live there. But the minor pilgrimage, anyways. The other one takes days. Nowadays in Jerusalem, they stand over it with guards, and that was one of the things. October 7th, 2023, there was more religious freedom than ever because there wasn't the guards. They're standing over there, even killing people if they, cross the line, to supposedly protect the sanctity. And it's like, that's not how to, establish your sacred precincts. It's by killing people who go over the line. That's not, similar errors, 10:13, D7:16, D3:21, Jubilees 1928, Targum, Daniel 1:7 to Abdo, Zerah 1:18. because that weekend I was saying that, the Temple Mount was cleared of soldiers, and the Jews and the Muslims and the Orthodox Jews all came there and filled the place and prayed. At least, if the video is authentic, why would they lie about that, Line, regardless of what people say else, regardless of the military bases, come on. 3, but the people killing people for crossing the line on a temple, it's not like they're breaking down a building or something. That's the terrorism, I think, But anyways, line 3, Deuteronomy 13:6, i.e., seduction to idolatry. See Jeremiah 23:16, paragraph of Leviticus 20:27, i.e., stoning, the same parallel. Sanhedrin 7:4, no death penalty is mentioned in D, but Z 9:1, the context suggests that the law was applied to antinomian utterances, 20:32-33, as is done by the Karaites, Revel. Context, shall not be put to death. And the use of the verb in D3:21 strongly suggests that it does not here mean unintentional, which D8:24 be sha Gaga, but that sect had abolished the capital punishment for Sabbath breaking. Yeah, that is going too far, right? And it sounds like that's probably for priestly control, right? Maybe it was that severe, but there's a difference between the things that a government should enforce and should not enforce. And of course, some things it's just, that's how they were back in the day, or they could have been that way back in the day. But in an international law sense, we can't do that. And typically post-industrial age, where people have to work 3 times as much to get by, on average, it's line 5, paragraph of Numbers 15:34, MHPL, to imprison. C. Marpeh 8:4, D4:6, 70, Deuteronomy 33. The Lord will heal thy sins in Isaiah 53:4. Amartya, translated Chola. The Arabic Marad, religious doubts. Well, don't they mean apostate? But remember, Surah 4, the Quran, gives the actual Islamic law for apostasy. Because at the end you have that, this is how the state's supposed to be run. It's like, it would be a tragedy if something wouldn't be fulfilled, right? So if a person goes back and forth between belief and, it's like, well, if they killed them for, the first time, it's like, okay, then their apostasy would be death. No, that passage at the end of Surah 4 refutes it. Also, the idea that, they're attacking people. If they're not attacking you, they're not attacking their own people, and they're not aiding people in attacking you, you leave them be. Okay, that also refutes the idea of, going after people for apostasy. TWNT 4, 1085, and C10:4, 13:1, 15, D8:25, 2 years for unintentional violation. D7:19, 2 years relegation for being faithless to the truth. 6, probably the procedure described. D7:19-22, Z10:12 also implies the possibility of readmitting the high-handed transgressor against D7:23. However, Jos B 288 end on the Essenes implying that such readmission was an act of grace. And in a way, that's how it has to be treated. Sometimes it should be automatic. Some groups or whatever, it should be automatic with some offenses and all that stuff, but sometimes not, right? Apparently also 1517 BH Bakahal, periphrastic genitive, 816 7. It is most natural to take this as a reference to raiding, see Jos and 4:8:10 about raiding heathen temples. Ginsburg takes it as a prohibition of taking alms from Gentiles. Well, if they've turned their backs on God, obviously they're not, the religious charity wouldn't be there. Taxes, sure, but Baba, Bathra, 10b, and so on. So now, Teicher, JJS 2, 1951, page 129. 8, the verb describes the behavior of enemies. TMG2, 37, line 3, of the Gentiles attacking. Mechilta, Bashalah, 2:1, in the Baba Kama 10:15. It is said that robbing a Gentile is worse than robbing a Jew because of the resulting profanation of the holy name, i.e. the Gentile will curse God. Well, it does something bad to the community, and it can stir up wars against, so yeah. Again, referring to, since 1948. See the Council of the Yachav, H 12:4, D 7:2, and so on. See Chever Ha Yehudim on Hasmodean coins. Chever, also in 1315 and 1416, here perhaps transformed by the copyist under the influence of M.H. Tibur 9, the list Ma Abodah Zara 1-5-6 excludes some clean animals, but includes horses. Jab Z 1-6, 39d, also camels. Sacrifice is not given as a reason in the Talmudic Chair LC or Bab Z 15a, though the connection with the heathen feasts suggested, wasn't the Jewish calendar sort of superseded upon stuff that was already going on? But in Tab Z 121, one may sell pigs to Gentiles without worrying whether they will sacrifice them. And if it's not lawful to use the pig, well, perhaps you can say, as garbage disposals, as some sort of work animal, right? Because you don't eat dogs, but you can use dogs. 10 in BH, Deuteronomy 15:4, 16:13, Iqav, possibly the choice of Gath here is connected with the strange Tirosh for wine, D6:4. Rabbinic law forbids selling standing grain to Gentiles, but our Judah folder 150 permitted it. Mab Z18, the idea that the sale of wheat, wine, and oil might be forbidden is proposed. Jab Z16, 39d, only to be rejected. C 911, but perhaps read Buckle Adyaham on all the festivals. Ginsburg, C Ma'abadah Zara 1:1, for the spelling of Ba Za 1a 11, i.e. are circumcised. Abba 3:15, such slaves must not be sold to Gentiles. Josephus's Antiquities 16:1-1, not even the Jews out of Palestine, but Yemamoth 48b, nor may uncircumcised slaves be captive. Leviticus 11:43, on which it comments. See 734. 12. The absence of wow seems to show that it was pronounced lakal. See Segal, page 75. See the Syriac Agla de Briatha, given by Moses Bar Ketha, which Payne Smith, page 2749, translates Vermes, que ex apium ovis preveninuit. These must be the larvae of the bees. The bee unclean also in Philospec leg 1, 291, because bred from putrescence. Hence, the sect presumably demanded filtering honey like some Karaites. See the sources of Schechter. Well, they isn't one of the isn't there some commandments that require using honey? So, they had to use it, not just it was good for medicine or food. Not making any claims about that. Don't want YouTube to make some big old deal about it, right? See also the use of the preposition, Leviticus 11:42, 13. There are the Yevchushim, creatures not visible to the naked eye, which were supposed to be generated by the liquid Gedayim 2:3. The liquid containing them may be drunk, but once strained from the liquid, they are forbidden. Taruma 7:11, Leviticus 11:42 is applied to them. Chulin 67a, also Lieberman, Proc Emer Ek of Jew, Research 20, 1951, 396, 14, The Sectarian, Ecclesiastic Rep. I'm not entirely sure if Ars Rabbi or something. 747, Jacob of Kephar, Nebariah, taught that ritual slaughtering of fish was a biblical commandment. Gen R72, the question exercised by the rabbis, Sifra 39a, Bet Chulin 27b, and so on. The Samaritans prohibited fish blood. Well, if you gut the fish, you really should, clean up, right? Not scoop it all into. That's, people say, you can get sick. That's probably how he got sick. Anyways, Rechner, page 51. See also the 9th century Karaite Daniel Al-Qamisi. See Nimoy, page 31. Later Karaites, on the other hand, forbid violent killing of fish. Hadassi, Alf, 234. According to Bidawi, who died in 1286, on Quran 351, Jews were forbidden to eat fish. Well, I've never heard that conclusion because the Quran and the Hadith actually don't say they were forbidden to eat fish, but there are some fish, there's some animals and stuff that they were forbidden. What's the rule with the scales or some other stuff? So there's some seafood. Perhaps that's the word we're looking at, is seafood, because not all. Sometimes you have a word for fish that includes lobsters and stuff. BH Le 15 C Othlo 1010 C 421, i.e. they were created from these elements. See Mequaoth. 6-7, similar Pirk are Eliezer. 9, on the same grounds. Sa'adea Ginsburg. Geonica 245 forbids locusts that die naturally. Drowning is demanded by Samaritans. Brechner, page 52, and Karaites, Rebel, page 47. 16, the verb does not occur in the Pentateuch, and nowhere denotes ritual impurity, but perhaps the whole law derives from Malachi 1:12, where the altar is, of course, mechubar, immovable, see below, go'al, Nehemiah 13:29. For other transpositions of wow and gutturals, see D 4:9, 7:13, or else ge'ul, verb noun pe'el, see D 3:2. If you look at the verses in the Quran for love by and for God, you have a similar phenomenon going there. I mean, you don't have the letters. You don't have variations in the letters for that reason, but 17, so the Targum, Jonah, or Numbers 19:14. Rabbinic law does not consider immovable things, mechubar, able to receive and transmit impurity. Popular feeling was stricter in this regard and persisted in regarding the ground trodden by menstruous women as unclean even in the 12th century. See the sources quoted in Ginsburg, page 115, on Karaites. See Rebel, page 50. And it said that if a naked menstruous woman wanders a field, then it will kill the pests. And there are some actual interactions with metals and stuff like this that differ when a woman's menstruating. So, Kele Mesmer, a utensil made with nails, Kelem 11:3, would not be mechubar, and rabbinic law, nails are not defilable except in cases where they are used as tools, and Kelem 12:5, 18. Note that house here contradicts the idea that the sect lived in desert encampments, all the more so as the Mishnah, following the Pentateuch, largely uses tent when discussing these matters. A lot of people go too far with saying Semitic religions are about the desert, and sometimes it was opposite. There was an oasis or something. The paragraph of Leviticus 11:32-19, see 7:6, where serek practically means regulation. From here to line 22, we have the solemn conclusion of a section, perhaps a series of laws adopted on specific occasion. Similarly, 13:20, F 14:17, FF. Okay, same meaning. D 7:10, the term yizkafu, same source. 11 equals MH. Ahmad Leminyan, to vote, suggests that such laws were fixed by majority vote, as was done on several occasions by the rabbis. Were there cities? 10:21, as well as camps. 7:6, 10:23. Ezekiel 22:26, or Ezra, with the same transpositions. 6:17-18. For the exact meaning, see 7:4. 20, see also D 9:12, not a biblical quotation, hence probably quoted from the same sectarian work. See 4:15, 9:9, 16:110. 21, see 13:7 in D. Tekun 22, see 28:23, i.e. the laws, see 8:2. C 6:10, C LC, and 21.